Alright, now I'm really concerned for Halo Infinite. Just every new thing I hear about this game seems to indicate that there are a lot of issues going on behind the scenes, and that is further exacerbated by the latest report from Jason Schreier, who published via Bloomberg a scoop that reads Halo Infinite director and longtime 343 executive Chris Lee has left the project. This is the second Halo Infinite director to depart in 2 years, and another sign of the game's turbulent development. So here's the article in question. Microsoft's new Halo game loses top director after project delay. And Chris Lee provided the following statement to explain why he left. He said, "I have stepped back from Infinite and I am looking at future opportunities. I believe in the team and am confident they'll deliver a great game, and now is a good time for me to step away." Now, Chris Lee makes it seem like this was entirely his decision, but it would seem as though maybe some of the top executives weren't happy at the way the game's development was being handled, judging by how after the game was delayed in early August, it was supposed to come out November of this year alongside the Series X, but now it's been delayed to 2021. So after all that happened, following poor fan reception to an early public version, that's, I think, ultimately what largely contributed to that delay, Lee's role was sidelined a few weeks later, as Microsoft brought in Halo veteran Joe Staten to lead the single-player campaign and another senior executive, Pierre Hins, to run multiplayer. It would seem as though in light of Halo Infinite's turbulent development, Microsoft decided to shift some stuff around in Halo Infinite's development, and Chris Lee is now no longer involved in the project. Microsoft did provide a statement on the matter, and they said, "Chris Lee remains a Microsoft employee, and while he has stepped back from Halo Infinite right now, we appreciate all he has done for the project to date." The article concludes by highlighting other staff members that the game's development has lost. So in August of 2019, 343 Industries lost its creative director Tim Longo and executive producer Mary Olson, and at that time, Microsoft said the overall creative vision and production of the game remains led by Chris Lee, and suddenly, after the backlash, after the delay, after word has gotten out there that, there's something wrong behind the scenes, Chris Lee suddenly is no longer involved with the project after being sidelined and having other folks brought in to lead the project. So they're trying to make some adjustments, but this still doesn't shine a positive light on Halo Infinite's development. A lot of fans on social media and forums have already expressed how concerned they are at the current state of the game and whether this game will be able to live up to the hype of being a Halo sequel. It doesn't help matters that Jason Schreier, who has a proven track record of exposing troubled development cycles for video games, continues to emphasize that, quote, "I can confirm based not on assumptions but on conversations with the developers that Halo Infinite has been having development issues for a very long time." And apparently he's not done highlighting this stuff. He stated, "I've shared various personnel scoops over the past 2 years and I'm hoping to share more in-depth details in the future, so more information is to come." Looking back at the history of video games who had top-tier developers leave the studio in the middle of a project's development during a turbulent time period, it has always served as indication that the game may not necessarily be in a good place, and that in turn, the launch of the game may not be in a good place either. I'm reminded of everything that happened with BioWare. During Mass Effect Andromeda's development, during Anthem's development, developers, again, top-tier developers, longtime veterans, people who were deeply ingrained with those projects, just kind of left in the middle of those projects, and the end results of both Andromeda and Anthem kind of spoke for themselves and affirmed what a lot of people feared, that the developers leaving out of the blue like this and staff being shifted around, it was all an indication that something was amiss and that people should maybe lower their expectations and be wary of the project. And just looking at the past couple of months and the way Halo Infinite has kind of presented itself and the way that has been received suggests that there's just something amiss. The 8-minute gameplay demo was met with mixed reactions because a lot of people felt as though the graphics didn't really look all that next-gen. There was a lot of technical issues with pop-ins and environments lacking a lot of detail, models looking very plasticky, and so the reception of the gameplay premiere was mixed, to say the least. The backlash was severe enough that 343 Industries was forced to respond in this section right here of a follow-up blog post that highlights how they're aware of the feedback surrounding the graphics and visuals, and at the very least they assure that they're aware of the feedback and that they're taking it into consideration. And this blog post did do a good job of communicating that, they're aware of what people are saying. And then not long after, on August of 2020, the developers officially announced they would delay the game in light of the feedback and the fact that the game seemingly just has a lot of work to be put into it before it's ready for launch. And while a delay is good for a troubled project, as that will give developers more time to really flesh everything out, everything I hear surrounding what's going on behind the scenes has me really, really worried about this game now. I was worried before. I was relieved when I kind of saw the blog post saying, okay, yeah, we have some work to do. And then after the delay, I was like, all right, that's the right decision to make. But now hearing about the director leaving and how this is now the second director who's left the project, it all gives the impression that Halo Infinite is lacking direction and vision. And when you look at something like Anthem, whose development history was largely afflicted by a lack of vision and a lack of clear direction, to hear that Halo Infinite is losing directors and is constantly changing in leadership, I'm just reminded of what happened with Anthem, and I'm praying that Halo Infinite somehow manages to get itself back together, and hopefully with the change in leadership, there will be a strong vision now, and hopefully they'll take however much time is needed to ensure that Halo Infinite is a proper, fully fleshed, polished experience. This is one game they cannot rush. Halo is Microsoft's flagship video game. If they release a Halo game that doesn't live up to expectations and that confirms people's current fears with Halo Infinite right now, then boy, is that going to be awful for optics. And optics aren't helped by the way Microsoft and 343 Industries is handling microtransactions for Halo Infinite's multiplayer mode, which has been confirmed in this blog post right here to feature something called the coding system, which is reminiscent of Destiny 2's shader system. And while there's still some details that we don't know, the comparisons to Destiny 2 shader system hasn't been denied by Microsoft, and when you read the description here, it sounds a lot like it. Coloration of armor pieces was an inherent feature to Halo. Given that the multiplayer component is a standalone free-to-play experience, people don't mind some form of monetization in the form of textures, materials, and designs and patterns, but to sell just something as basic as colors, to remove the ability to just add whatever color you want to specific pieces, the way they're doing it is fusing the colors with the coatings, so you can't just purchase a coating that has maybe the design material texture that you want and then apply a color to it separately. The color is just whatever color that coating is and cannot be changed unless you find another coating with the color that you want. And it just feels like a step back. And now we're hearing the possibility that these armor coatings might be $5 a pop, as highlighted by Sean W. here, who spotted this ad, highlighting how the Monarch armor coating is valued at $5 in this giveaway advertisement. The Monarch armor coating has been revealed in a previous blog post. This is what it looks like. So basically you're paying $5 for purple because there is no separate coloration system that allows you to take this armor design, texture, and material and just apply whatever color you want to all of the different parts of the armor in the form of primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, or in the form of being able to take each piece individually and color it however you want. And this is something that I'll discuss further in a separate video, as I feel like it's an expansive enough topic where I can discuss it separately. But the main point for this video is this article highlighting how Halo has lost another top director. I'll keep my fingers crossed that Halo Infinite can make a comeback and kind of get their shit together, and at the end of the day ship a game that is ready for launch, and hopefully the delay will help. But I'd be lying if I said that I'm not concerned for how this game will turn out, how it's being monetized, the decisions going behind it, especially where monetization is concerned. There are projects that did have a troubled development and somehow did manage to come back from that. So it's not unheard of for that to happen, but the fact that Halo Infinite is troubled in its development does mean that there is a risk associated with investing in this project because it might end up disappointing. Again, keeping my fingers crossed that they, at the end of the day, do manage to pull it together. But man, am I super worried about this project now. So that's one man's take, and before I close off the video, if you want to support the channel directly and get something in return, I hope you'll check out the new merch store, yongya.com, where you'll find shirts like this, hats like that, and surprise mechanics parodies like this, and Nuka Dark Rum fiasco parodies like this right here. It will go a long way. Appreciate everyone who's already visited the website. And also, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this new development, on Halo losing its top director, and what you think this means for the project and the way it'll turn out. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.